Welcome back to Edgework, presented by FanDuel as part of the Hammer Betting Network. I'm Alex Moretto, joined here today by So Money to break down a big Canucks win as they drag themselves back into the playoff race. Maybe a little trade deadline preview here. We have a big trade that went down yesterday that maybe we'll get some thoughts on. A lot of stuff happening right now in the NHL because this is the season. This is the season for trades. This is the season for the playoff push. Races heating up everywhere. Every night it feels like we have big games in the East and West wild card races. That was the case again last night. We did have a winning night on the show, not to bury the lead here. 3-1 night, I believe, without having that pulled up in front of me. But we did lose the over in the Caps Rangers. We got the Panarin goal given out by Rob. We got the half unit on the Blues, and then we got the full unit on the Kings Blues under. If you listen to the show and did end up betting the under 6+ money in the Leafs game when we got the Hill confirmation like I did, you're probably pretty upset to see Joseph Woll decide he wasn't going to save a puck last night in the first period. And then we get a meaningless goal in the third to cost us that under. That was tough, but thankfully it doesn't count on our show record. So I don't just pretend that didn't even happen. So Money, how was your Wednesday? How was your betting night? I saw you're teeing up the finals of the playoff game, big playoff game on Saturday. The lines were out for that. Has there been any early action so far, one way or the other on the side or total? Just take me through all of it. How are we doing today?
Yeah, yesterday was an interesting day. We had a practice in the morning with the kids. It was good. It's one of those things where it probably means more to me than a lot of the kids. It's one of those things where they develop all year and they work so hard and they're having fun and that's great and stuff. I want this for them. I want them to later on in life to think about it, how hard they worked and how hard how much they developed to get to this level, and now they can cement their hard work, right? So
yeah.
In the end, I want them to have fun, but fuck, I really want to win. So
losing's not fun.
Yeah, we're going through that right now, working on a couple of things that we've picked up here and there that the kids need to work on in terms of strategy and trying to keep it light, but at the end of the day, they're still kids. But just really want to win though, man.
Yeah, it's winning is everything. I got some money on that under right now still, so I hope we get a nice tense game, playoff style atmosphere. I feel good about my position here. I think that might even close a flat 5. I'm hearing based on where we've seen the line go so far. No.
The interesting thing is that I'm taking one-sided action on our team, mm-hmm. which is nice and it's encouraging. But they're a good team too, and we're gonna have to move the number here.
We're gonna have to figure out a way to get this game broadcast somehow on YouTube. I don't know. We're gonna have to talk to our tech team, get some producers in there, maybe get a camera down, shipped out west. We'll figure something out. Yeah, we will figure something out. We do have a lot of games to get to today. I do want to talk quickly, though, before we get into the games about that trade yesterday. Bjorkstrand and Yanni Gourde on their way to Tampa. Brisebois takes his home run swing, as he always does. Doesn't always work out, like we saw with Tanner Jeannot, but you got to love going for it. This is what's the point in sitting on those late first-round picks when you have Victor Hedman, who's 34, Ryan McDonough, who's 35, 36. And obviously, selfishly, very happy to see them go for it too and mortgage their future because we have our Tampa futures and we have our positions on that Tampa team. I really love that move for them. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about Gourde being moved, and Gourde was a nice add at the center position for them. Gives them a little bit of depth now, maybe the option to move. I know they like Glendening quite a bit, so probably keep Glendening as that 4C. Move maybe Paul out to the wing, either on line 2 or line 3. We'll find out pretty soon how they're lining up right now, at least at practice. But the emergence of Chaffee, the emergence of Gonçalves, and now Bjorkstrand is just I don't know about you, but I love Oliver Bjorkstrand. Just such a good competitive player, both ends of the ice. Provides a lot of offense, has a great shot, defensively really, really responsible, really smart player. He's a guy who can play up and down that lineup. You're talking about a guy you can basically in all situations you can rely on. Just feels like he was kind of made in the lab for this Tampa team. I thought they I thought they smashed it out of the park with that move. What were your thoughts?
I completely agree. I think that that both these guys, they know Yanni Gord, and like Bjorkstrand like fits like right into what John Cooper wants as in a player, right? And like you mentioned Tanner Jeannot, yeah, that's gonna happen, right? Like I mean, if you keep swinging, like sometimes you're just gonna strike out, right? So like but you have to keep swinging, right? And I love this for them, right? And like yeah, they don't pick in the first round for like 15 years. Like who cares, right? Like who cares if you don't have a first round pick, if you're finding guys like Gonzalez and Chafee to get in the lineup, or you're making trades for the younger kids who like
exactly. And like Isaac Howard right now, who's a second round, I think, or late first or second round pick, who's lighting up the NCAA right now. Like you find guys, right? You make it work.
Exactly. You know, like you're gonna give up on like the first round picks, but like you're also putting trust in your scouting team to like go find me the gems. I'm gonna keep swinging, and you go find me the gems.
Yeah,
and like that's the way you should be running your organization, right? Like, or you're gonna be stuck with like the Sabres, who are like every time they fall out of a playoff race, well, now we have got to rebuild. Now we got to sell, right? And like, like it just can't work that way. I will say though, right? Like your home market and the pressure you face with that, it does dictate the moves that you can make, right? Like it'll be very tough to convince like a Vancouver market or like a Toronto market, maybe like you guys would know better for the Toronto market, but like if you one strikeout in like a Toronto market means that the GM's head is on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Right? In Tampa Bay, you can afford to strike out, right? Your job is safe. Right? Like it's just the way it's gonna go, right? In Vancouver as well, you make one mistake, you're done, right? So like there's a lot of GMs in these markets that do their job based on protecting on protecting their own job, right? So like they're not gonna take the big swings because I'm out of a job if I miss this. Right. And like that's a very tough way to play the game.
Yeah. The thing is, it's like I agree that that's the approach that they're taking here, where like you're kind of scared to make the wrong move. You want to be in and you want to give your team the best chance, but you also don't want to mortgage the future, and you don't want to, trade a potential superstar, even though the odds of that are still very, even like talking about like an Easton Cowan or whatever, like however good they may become, the odds of these guys becoming that superstar level player are still slim, right? You don't want to make a move that's going to cost you a ton down the line. But I think there's such an appetite and a hunger for a lot of people to just see them like just fucking take that swing and just go. We've been sitting here every year. Like Kyle Dubas, I've been very critical of him on this show. The one thing I will say, he did go for it with the Foligno deal. That was the one year where they had an opening. And obviously it didn't work out. Foligno got hurt. That wasn't the move that ended up being the right move. But like at least they tried there and like took a swing and got rid of their first and went for it. Right now, you're coming to kind of a crossroads where like Tavares is getting older. He's a UFA. Marner's obviously a UFA. There's a lot of uncertainty there. Like who knows how much longer you're going to have this core together? Just go for it, right? Yeah. By the time Mitten and Cowan are valuable pieces, like how old is Matthews going to be? Where is Marner even going to be playing? Like Tavares might even not be in the league at that point. I mean, you can look at different things that were, mistakes, and I get why some of these guys are scared. But honestly, I think maybe like talk to Zach about this, and you see Zach on Twitter as well and in the chat. Like I think you see he wants them to go for it too. I would want my GM to go for it in this situation. Yeah. But you see the reaction to the Tampa trade yesterday. I think a lot of people in Toronto still actually don't want to see them go for it. They want to hold on to their trade chips, which is like it makes it easy for a GM to get complacent, because you sit there and you see that reaction. You're like, okay, maybe like I don't have to go for it right now. There's not this pressure on me to like be all in and push our chips to the middle, because there's a lot of people that want to see us stretch this window out as far as we can. But it's like, instead of like being up here in terms of your like, ability to compete for a cup, you're just like staying here across the board, as opposed to kind of, doing that like Tampa thing. I'm surprised how many people are okay with just sitting on your hands, but seems like we are kind of in the minority and wanting to see our GMs kind of go for it.
Yeah, and it starts at the top too, right? Like you have certain owners that like want to meddle, like you see in Vancouver, like this guy wants to get involved in like all the moves and stuff because he wants playoff revenue, even if it's 2 games, is more important to him than like than like setting up next season, right? And like
Mm-hmm.
if like I'm the owner, right? I go to my GM, give me your vision. If I like your vision, here's your 6 years. I'm not saying shit to you, right?
Yep.
Go do your 6 years, do whatever you want, whatever you think is gonna be prudent to execute your vision, and then and then we'll come back to the table in 6 years and see what we're looking like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's the way to do it. Let your GM go, right? As long as the vision, you're both aligned in your vision, and let the guy do his job, right? And like I think that in Tampa Bay, they have full autonomy there. They don't have it in Vancouver, right? And then there's like other Canadian cities that they have to run everything by ownership, and like it just bogs down the process, right? Like you need
For sure.
you need your scouting, you need your GM, you need them all to be autonomous, and it just doesn't work out that way a lot of times in the league.
And you know that every move you make is going to be so much more heavily scrutinized. Like in Tampa, they make a move and maybe a year later they forget, or it doesn't matter. But like it's not going to be talked about for here. Like I mean, I know in Montreal you still have people talking about the Scott Gomez trade, and like hell, Scott Gomez didn't pan out for a long time, but like they went to a conference final with Scott Gomez, and he was a key piece of that team at that point. McDonough, giving away McDonough was a mistake in the end, but like. Took a swing, but you still have people complaining about that. I don't think you have people in some of these smaller markets complaining about trades that happened ages ago. Like I don't hear anyone in Tampa still bitching about the Jeannot trade. And that Jeannot trade too, like has that really killed them? I mean, they're still out here, like they traded a ton of picks, but they still have picks that they're able to give up for rentals. They did last year. They added Duclair, they added Dumba. This year they added Bjorkstrand and Gord. It's not like they've been hamstrung to the point where they can't do anything. They're still making moves. They're still adding pieces. It hasn't crippled them or their ability to do that. And I this is maybe a side note that doesn't really matter, but I can't believe that Tanner Jeannot trade didn't work out. Like you can understand why they took that swing. A guy who was like 22, 23 years old, coming off of 41 points in 81 games in his rookie year, and like a 6'3", ton of penalty minutes. He looked like he was going to become a great power forward. But yeah, that's a side note that doesn't really matter. But yeah, you take a swing, it doesn't work out, and like guess what, Tampa's still here, they're still competing, they're still adding, they're still among the cup favorites. So you can't operate scared.
And part of that is that you have to make tough decisions with like letting guys go, right? You think that ownership wanted to let Steve Stamkos go, right? Like the face of the franchise, but no, like you have autonomy, you think that that's the right move, go do it. I'm not saying anything, right? And you're gonna have to make tough decisions like that to like free up cap space or like change the direction of your organization and the composition of your team, and that's just the way it has to be.
Yeah, 100%. All right, enough about the trade deadline for now. We will talk more about it tomorrow, I'm sure. So probably have some more moves coming in today, and then definitely a bunch tomorrow. We'll probably break that all down on Monday. We do have a bunch of games to get to. Before we do, Puckheads, the NHL playoffs are right around the corner, and FanDuel is bringing you the best bets on the ice. Get in the lab when you make your same-game parlay by checking out FanDuel's player performance pages that track stats and averages all your favorite players. Once you know who's cooking, add shots on goal, points, assists, or even goalie saves to your SGP. Miss puck drop, you can still tap in with live same-game parlay and period-specific player props. Right now, new customers can kick off the season with $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Just place any $5 bet, and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Download FanDuel Sportsbook and make every moment more. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states, or 18 plus and present in DC, or 19 plus and physically located in Ontario. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mbgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. All right, let's get into these games tonight. So we have a bunch to get to. Big ones for my Habs and my Eastern Conference playoff hopes. As well as a lot of these potential wild card teams are in action. But we start where I guess still technically wild card hopes, but I think we've pretty much written them out from the race, is the Boston Bruins, who are in Carolina tonight. Bruins plus 250, Hurricanes minus 315, total of 5.5, minus 122 to the over, plus 100 to the under. So Money, do you have anything in this first game of the night?
I don't have anything here. I think that in the next couple of days, we do have to be careful betting early with teams like Boston, because I just don't know where they're going to end up, right? And even Carolina, who theoretically should be buyers, right? Like they might make a trade and end up with like guys who are not in the lineup that would play if they're making hockey trades. So I will pass on this game. Carolina took a ton of money earlier.
That's a lot of money they took.
Right, and like which makes sense, right? Like I don't think that anybody's rushing to bet Boston right now. So just one of those situations again that we talk about this all the time, that yes, Carolina is inflated right now, right? Like if you run any model and you're doing it based on this price at the current market price, you will get an edge on Boston, right? But just subjectively as well, like you got to consider that if that's the team that you want to bet right now, right? Like a team that made Nashville look good, right? So I will pass on the game. In total, at the 5.5, it's juiced at the 5.5. It makes sense to be there. So I'll pass altogether. It's not a game that I'm particularly interested in at this point.
Did you have any lean on the total here? Because I do have a strong lean that I'm hoping will turn into a play at one point soon.
Yeah, I do like the over. I think that Boston is a mess defensively, and Carolina is starting to generate offense. And I also think that their goaltending hasn't been up to par lately as well. So, but my concern is that how much can Boston generate on this total?
Yeah. That's where I come in, and that's why I'm kind of leaning the other way a little bit, where I like the under, but I'm hoping that it's ticking up slowly towards the over. I'm hoping that we can get a 6 at one point, even like a 6 minus 120. That's when I would jump in. As of right now, I have not. I'm not playing anything, but like I do like the under, just kind of stylistically even here. The Bruins just cannot generate anything. They're gonna have a hard time. I'm not sure how much they'll even have the puck here. This just feels like it should be a very routine night for the Canes, where kind of get in that 3-1, 4-1 type of win. I think the Bruins' best chance here is just sort of mudding it up, hopefully getting a big Swayman game. Canes are going to get their chances. Yes, Boston is a mess, but like chance conversion still remains an issue for them. They're not scoring on a lot of their chances, and that's always kind of the case with this team. So while the offensive numbers look high, the goal output doesn't always match it. So I do think this is an under game. I don't hate it at like 5.5 plus 107 that I'm seeing right now, but like I do think maybe if we wait a little bit, it's possible we can get a better number. I also want to see if we can get some confirmation in net here, because I'm like a tad scared just based on like the mess that Boston is. Maybe they're kind of not going to overload Swayman down the stretch. Maybe they do go Korpisalo here as well. So I'd want to see confirmation before I do anything, but that is the way I lean here. And Carolina should go Kochetkov. They've been alternating back and forth with Kochetkov and Anderson, and Chekhov's been great. I've seen the puck really well. He's playing really, really at a high level right now. So lean under for myself, but need a Swayman confirmation and would hopefully get a little bit of a better number. So nothing for now from either of us on this game. We will move on to the next game, where the Tampa Bay Lightning, who we just talked about, are hosting these Buffalo Sabres. Sabres plus 198, Lightning minus 245, a total of 6.5, minus 104 to the over, minus 118 to the under. I mean, it should be fun seeing the new faces in the Tampa lineup. I was just looking at their they were tweeting out the lines, and it looks like we had Paul playing up with Sorelli and Hagel on the second line, and then Yanni Gourde, Bjorkstrand, and Gonsalves as the new look third line there. Chafee down to the fourth line with Glendening and Girgensons. So we will see these two new faces in the lineup tonight for Tampa. Yes, there's a number I'd be willing to step in front of this Lightning team at, but like, it is a big number. This isn't it right now. I do think Buffalo will be pesky down the stretch. This is still a really talented group. I think they'll play spoiler a couple times. We will have spots to back them. This just isn't one of them right now with the way Tampa's playing. Just not a spot I'm looking to fade the Bolts. Nothing for me in this game, side or total. How about yourself?
Just looking at Warren's comment in the chat there. That's funny. Yeah, I got I got nothing here. Just looking at the Tampa Bay lineup, like look at the versatility up and down that forward group. Um, I think that they are going to make a move to get some reinforcements on the back end there. I think that um, yeah, they need to fix that a bit, but
Maybe just
yeah,
like a
like
third pairing guy on the left, I think, because to replace Lilleberg. Although Lilleberg's been playing well, but like I think most are Cernak and Radish they're pretty comfortable with down the right.
yeah,
And then maybe like a third pairing guy, but
yeah, just like depth there, and like going into the playoffs, you can never have too much depth on
for
defense
sure.
either, right? So, yeah, I think that there's probably a move coming there in this game. I I got nothing. I'm interested to see how Tampa runs their lines here. It's just fascinating, right? You can move Bjorkstrand up to like up to the top six if you want. Like Sorelli can move down or up. Paul can move down. It's just there's so much versatility there.
You
So
could even have Paul center as like his own line. You have Paul and
yeah,
Gord centering both lines on the bottom six too, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's great. I really like the composition there. But yeah, right now I'm going to pass on this game. Interested to see how it all plays out. How Tampa wants to do this game. But yeah, I will end up passing for now.
To Rob's point, not really, because I think that like it's basically just one line at this point. Like the top six is still all those guys now. The way they're lining up here, the top six are all have all been playing together for like years and years now. So I think that shouldn't be too much of an issue to add in like just an improved third line there, where Bjorkstrand and Gord have obviously played together a little bit. So I mean, it's possible, but like it's not something that I'm necessarily considering here, like that would scare me off in any way. So nothing for us in that game either. We will. Well, at least myself, I do have a bet on this next game. The Utah Hockey Club taking on the Detroit Red Wings. Utah up to minus 125 now on FanDuel. Wings plus 104. Total of 6.5 plus 114 to the over, minus 140 to the under. So Money, I'll let you start here. I did tease that I do have a bet in this game. We'll see if we're aligned, if we're opposite, or where your head's at for this one.
So I want to preface this by saying that I promise that I don't hate the Red Wings.
Okay, good. So we're on the same side.
Yeah, like I don't hate the Red Wings. It's just that I don't they don't come in as high for me as the market prices them. And like in this game here, I do like Utah a lot, and like I've liked them going into the season, and the last little stretch here, they've kind of indicated my thoughts as well here, right? So like I do like this Utah team. I like the way that they've been playing lately. I like where this team is going, right? I think that they learned a lot from last year with their collapse, and I do think that they will be hanging around more this year. I also think that the last playoff spot here, maybe the last two, depending on what happens with the Wild, but the last wild card spot for sure. I do feel it's gonna come down to Utah or the Blues. So I did play Utah, like them to minus 130, and yeah, I just the direction that both of these teams are going right now, I don't think the market has accounted for it as well as well as it should. We see the money coming in on Utah right now, so I mean
we'll definitely lock that in
going
if you
where they
haven't
should
bet it
be
yet.
right now. Yeah, so yeah, we can go lock in Utah, especially since it's moving right now.
Yeah, so I'm on Utah as well. Definitely like that side. They're playing some of their best hockey this season right now. They've actually been really good on the road too. Their numbers have not dipped at all. In fact, they're playing even maybe a little bit of a better brand of hockey on the road. Their success, though, at this point, and what I like about what I'm seeing from them is that their success that they're having is predicated on strong team defense. They're not going out there and trying to outscore teams. Yeah. They're playing the right way. They're doing the little things right. When they have stepped up in class, their defense has kind of slipped up a bit, and that's brought their overall numbers down because they do struggle to step up against those good teams like we've seen, like the Washingtons, the Dallases, and stuff like that. But this is not one of those steps up in class, and this is a type of game where they've been excellent defensively, and they've been really good at suppressing chances. Hopefully we get the Vizmelka confirmation. You can celebrate his new contract here as well. But like either way, I'm still comfortable with this Utah team at this price. I think they're playing really well right now. This is a Detroit team that still doesn't quite do the little things right. They're a little bit erratic. Their goaltending as well has become a little bit erratic. Not at that same level as Vizmelka is providing for Utah right now. So I think there's a little room here. Double best bet on our Utah Hockey Club. I like it. First play of the night. Maybe not the busiest night for us in terms of bets, but we'll see here. Moving on to the next game where the Jets are taking on the Flyers. Jets minus 164 in Philly. Flyers plus 136. Total of 5.5, minus 110 to either side here. This is a rematch of a game we saw last week where Philly went into Winnipeg and played a really, really good game. Came out with that win in the shootout. I think for me, what this Philly team boils down to is whether or not they're going to get saves in net, because they are playing a much better again. They're playing good hockey. That Calgary game wasn't pretty, but like a lot of that was down to just Urson got shelled early, could not make a single save, and he gets pulled, and then it becomes a bit of a game again. But like again, if they're not getting saves, it's just not going to matter. So the nights they're getting saves, this team is playing really well in front of their goalies, and they're live. They're very much live. You just don't.
Sorry,
really
Alex.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. The Urson is confirmed.
Urson is confirmed?
Yeah.
Okay. So Urson is confirmed there. The other side of this is we don't have a confirmation, I don't think, for the Jets, right?
No.
And this wouldn't be the first time they go Comrie in the first half of the back-to-back. I don't think they will, but like they've definitely done it a couple times before. Obviously trying to maybe limit Hellebuck's reps down the stretch. I wouldn't be shocked if they went Comrie here. So kind of tough to do anything in this game without knowing who's in net. If it is Comrie, I will get myself on a Flyers bet here. I will be on a Flyers side, but like with Hellebuck in net, I'm still not getting the price I would want on the Flyers here. Although they are playing well, just hard to trust right now in net. But that's kind of where my head's at here. Nothing until we know who's in net for Winnipeg. If it is Hellebuck, probably just a game that I sit out. If it's Comrie, then I'll get in on Philly. Is that kind of where you're at with this one, or you have different thoughts?
Kind of similar. To be transparent, I missed the under in the morning. There was 6 there, and I just missed it. I thought that I had more time, and it just got away from me. So it's at 5.5 now. I won't bet the 5.5. I do want the Winnipeg confirmation. I will say that if it is Comrie and it goes back towards the 6, I'd be more interested in betting the under 6 at that point.
If we can get a 6, even with Comrie.
Exactly, right. But I kind of feel that we'll end up getting Hellebuck here. So I will sit this one out. If it goes to 6, even with Comrie, I'll bet the under. But as of this moment, because I already messed up earlier, waiting for a number that was non-existent, I have to sit this one out.
Yeah, fair enough. We will move on to Florida here, where the Panthers are laying minus 295 against your Columbus Blue Jackets. Jackets plus 235, total of 6.5, minus 130 to the under, plus 106 to the over. A big price. We've been betting a lot of big numbers on this Columbus team. This is a different type of beast standing in front of them right now in Seth Jones' Florida Panthers. Are you taking this big price with the Blue Jackets on the road here? Or are you going to sit this one out? Are you looking anywhere on the total? Where are you at here?
Yeah, you know that I want to bet the Blue Jackets, and like I will be cheering for them. But yeah, you're right. It's just it's a different beast now in front of them. It's not the Red Wings here anymore. So I will pass on this game. I think that Florida has stepped up their play. They went through a little bit of a stretch there, as you would imagine with a championship team. They are going to have stretches in the following year where they don't look good. But I think that Florida is starting to find their game now. And we mentioned about teams, about Columbus and the teams around them, besides Tampa Bay, that they are going to go on streaks, good streaks and bad streaks. Columbus had a nice little run, and like I joke about them being the best team in the league, and I really want them to make the playoffs. But we also have to be realistic as well, right? And they're playing a Florida team that has gotten a lot better. Merzlikins will be in net tonight. It doesn't look like any changes, unless I'm wrong. It doesn't look like, just scanning Dean Evanson's comments here, it doesn't look like any changes to Florida's lineup. So, I mean, I'll be cheering for Columbus, but from a betting perspective, I can't get involved here.
So I am getting involved, not with Columbus, but with an under here.
Oh,
no, I'm getting with an under, and I think I know it's kind of a little bit against the grain, I think here, and I know the over's taken a little bit of money, and that's the only reason I'm now getting involved. Where now that we're getting plus money on this under 6, I know I can understand why the over's taking money, and I can understand why that's probably like the quote unquote sharp side here, maybe. But like, yes, Columbus is playing some sort of high event hockey and giving up a ton, but like honestly, they're not generating that much. They're kind of scoring way over their heads. Shooting 17% at all strength since the Four Nations break. They're shooting 15% at 5-on-5, which is like over 2 full percentage points higher than the second best team. That is going to regress in a big way. I think this is a really good spot for it to regress. I just don't love what I'm seeing for them on offense. Their schedule is kind of falling nicely, where they got to play Detroit a couple times. Obviously, Detroit a little bit of a mess defensively, not necessarily the best goaltender. They get to face Jonas Johansson. This should be Bobrovsky. I'm a little bit. It is confirmed. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. So Bobrovsky we get in net here. He's playing well. Florida, honestly, it boils down to, I think, regression from Columbus offensively. Don't think they're capable of scoring a ton in a matchup like this. And it also comes down to Florida now playing like for the division, turning it on, playing that like playoff style of hockey that they want to get into down the stretch here, and as they gear up for April. I think that's kind of the approach they're going to take. They should just be able to suffocate this game and really limit what Columbus does. The last thing they want to do is get dragged into sort of a game that Columbus would want to play here, like a back and forth. This should be a professional sort of game for them, where they kind of get in and try and get the 2 points and jump into that top spot in the Atlantic Division, which is right there for them right now. And I think the way that they do that is by playing that suffocating Florida Panthers style of hockey. And I don't know that I know what the numbers show in terms of how much Columbus has been scoring, but I don't know that they're actually able to have much of a say here if that's how Florida wants to play. And that's why I am on an under 6 here at plus money. The only reason I was able to get involved here is because the over kept taking a little bit of money. So I'm going to kind of go a little bit against the grain here and lock in an under 6 at plus money.
And also further to your point here, I'm just reading a quote from Reinhardt here. We've been on the right side of the puck, defense first, and our offense is always going to pop, right? Yeah. So like that kind of lets you know where their like mindset is. Like they are starting to like ramp up their game here, and like with Florida, we know that they have full trust in their offense. It does start from defense here. As a lifelong Columbus Blue Jackets fan, I'm just hoping that they can sneak a point out here somehow.
Yeah, and we've seen it from Florida before too, right? Where you kind of have some hidden value, where they're going to play maybe looser at times and stuff. Yeah. And they're not always going to play that like shut it down sort of style. But as we get into this time of year, this is when they start turning on. Yeah. They start playing their game the right way, and I think that's kind of already sort of begun. We've seen it in their last number of games here. I think this is a good matchup for that to continue. So yeah, an under 6 for myself here. Nothing from So Money on the Columbus Blue Jackets, unfortunately, for the chat, who was maybe hoping to hop on the BJs again. We will move on to the Calgary Flames taking on the Dallas Stars. Stars minus 245, Flames plus 198. Total of 5.5 on FanDuel, minus 132 to the over, plus 108 to the under. Do you like anything in this game here at all? I know Flames have been kind of a difficult team to peg down of late.
Yeah, it's tough. This one's a tough one. I can't get a good read right now on either team. Any play here just kind of feels like I'm forcing it. So I will pass here. Calgary's, I keep waiting for them to fall off, and they are starting to. But they just here and there they show like a flash of like some real good hockey, and they'd be like a really good team, and then they start struggling again. I guess that's what you should be expecting from where they are in the standings right now. They are where they are for a reason. So yeah, I will pass on this game. Nothing on the total as well. I just won't see anything here.
Yeah, I think everything is lined really well in this game. Total wise, Dallas, we talked enough now about them being an over team at this point without Heiskanen and the way they've been playing hockey lately, but I just cannot trust Calgary to generate offense at this point. I know they did and scored 6 goals the other night in Philly, but that was largely a product of Erston just completely unable to make a save in that first period, and that was the catalyst for that offensive outburst. But they do not have the horses right now. They're not generating chances. They're not scoring many goals. Just too hard to trust them if you're going to get on an over. And I simply could not bet an under right now in these Stars games the way they're playing. So nothing for us there. We move on to the game of the night, maybe the game of the month, even though it is still early March, where the Montreal Canadiens, the red-hot Montreal Canadiens, are heading into Edmonton to take on the Oilers. Oilers minus 260 here, Habs plus 210, total of 6.5. The over we're starting to see the over run a little bit now. Minus 110 on FanDuel, over 6.5, and minus 110 to the under. I'll let you lead here. I do have many thoughts on this game, as well as maybe some bets. But do you have anything that you want to do here? Any thoughts on the Habs? Any thoughts on the Oilers and this kind of struggles they've had right now? Where are you at with this one?
So I did play the Habs small money line. I think half a unit on the money line. I think on the Habs at the current pricing is good. A couple of notes here. So Oilers, obviously they're struggling right now, right? Like they're not playing their best hockey, and in these situations where you have a really good team that's not playing their best hockey headed to the trade deadline, they're kind of waiting around, right? I think that they're waiting around to see what happens tomorrow, and that's a nice break that Montreal's going to get here. Because the way that Montreal is playing, I do like their game, and I think they're finding Edmonton at the perfect time, and the market at the over the plus 200s. I think that it's based on where the pricing should have been a couple of weeks ago, as opposed to where it should be right now. So Montreal half a unit, I am good with. Again, I'm not worried about Edmonton. I think that they're just going through a lull here, and I think that they will find their game. I think that they will make a move to get themselves better. So yeah, I'm not worried about the Oilers, but I think the Habs are finding them at the right spot right now. So
I would like to make this a full unit if you will allow me. I like the Habs in this game. A lot of it is spot dependent, and I know it doesn't mean much coming from me wearing this hat right now as I talk about it. But it boils down to a lot of like Edmonton side of it too, though. It's not just about betting on the Habs right now. It's also about betting against the Oilers, and in the spot they're in, they are fighting it right now. They know they have to be better, but you got the coach calling them out multiple times over the last week and a half. Like you said, I do think the Oilers will ultimately be fine, but this is something that you don't just snap your fingers at this time and fix because of the trade deadline. The looming, what's going to happen tomorrow? Who's going to be here still? Are we going to ship out? Is an Arvidsson or someone we've been playing with all season going to be shipped out to clear out cap space for a bigger move? Who's going to be our goalie, going forward and stuff like that. There's just a lot of uncertainty. Definitely catching them at the right time. I think the Habs have been playing well. I've talked enough about that. I do think this Habs team is feisty right now. They're relatively healthy, aside from the Doc injury, but they are relatively healthy. They're playing some of their better hockey. They're getting good goaltending. Just a good spot for them and a good spot to fade Edmonton as they're still kind of fighting it right now. The other thing I'll add, and this is I don't want to get into the, trends, hashtag trends with a Z and all that stuff. But the Habs do play Edmonton very, very well. And they have played McDavid very well over the last few years. He has not done much against these Habs team. Beat them earlier this year. I think they shut them out earlier this year. Last year, in what was a much better, you can maybe argue much better Edmonton team and a much worse Habs team for sure. Habs took them to overtime twice, played them really tight. They do kind of tend to play up to the level of their competition when they play McDavid and the Oilers. You just kind of like, I don't know what it is about that. Obviously just like playing, maybe the best player in Canada kind of brings that out of you a little bit. You get a little bit of added motivation. I'm not saying that's worth much here, but like it is something to note.
Sorry,
like,
Alex.
Yeah.
Alex, sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Comey's confirmed.
Comey's confirmed? Okay. All right. So are we going ahead and locking in? Let's see how the total moves, but we're going to go ahead and lock in a Philly bet here.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you today.
No, that's an important interruption. I can't monitor this stuff and do this. It's very difficult. So I don't know about yourself, but I personally I'm going to lock in a Flyers position here as well. I do like the Flyers with Comrie net. My biggest gripe with this Flyers team is goaltending. They're able to play well. It's just when they don't get saves, when they have there's such a disadvantage in net, it's tough to back them. But I think that kind of mitigates it a little bit, makes them a bit more live here. At the very worst, you're just going to end up getting a decent number that you can do something with in a little bit. But we'll see how this total moves. Hopefully the over runs and we can get a better price on the under. Is that kind of how you want to attack this, or do you want to join me on the Flyers as well?
I will join you on the Flyers just because of the equity on the ticket.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I am waiting on the under, though. I would like to see a 6 if possible.
Yeah. So we'll see how the market reacts to that. We will lock in a Flyers in the meantime. I agree. A lot of it comes down to just what you can do with that number later. If you see a plus 135 sitting there and it's going to be maybe plus 125 or plus 120 later on. Obviously, you're going to grab it. We'll see how the total moves though in the meantime. But yeah, I don't have anything else to add of the Habs anyways. You interrupted me at a good time because I think I was just rambling at that point, just talking Habs hockey. So we will lock in. I'm glad I was able to get you to bump up to a full unit on the Habs. I don't have it. I know I bet the over the other night, but I don't have necessarily much interest in the over in this spot. I don't think the Habs are as bad defensively as the Ducks have kind of been. I think I trust them a little bit more in that regard. So I'm not going to chase the steam here on this over. I'm just going to sit that one out. Last game of the night, we have San Jose in Colorado taking on the Avs. Maybe the Blackwood revenge game. I'm not sure if they've actually played since that trade or not, and they probably have. The Avs minus 420, Sharks plus 320, total of 6.5 plus 104 to the over, minus 128 to the under. Do you have anything in this last game of the night?
No, I don't. That's a big number.
Yeah, it is.
But
the Sharks are playing well. Honestly, they're playing well.
Yeah, they are. And I'm going to end up passing here again. Nothing for me here. It's a really big number. I like San Jose. I'll be watching this game later. I won't have a bet in this game.
Yeah, I agree. it is a big number, but the Avs are rolling again with the Jushkin. And I know the schedule hasn't been all that difficult, but it's not about to get more difficult right here either. This is against San Jose. So San Jose's playing well. They've been feisty, obviously beating the Leafs in the shootout. They played well in the Habs and Sens games. Maybe deserved a little bit better. Not necessarily great against Buffalo, but look, they're playing some pretty good hockey right now. This is the Georgiev revenge game. More importantly, that is true. The Georgiev revenge game as well. It kind of buried the lead there. Georgiev's been playing better too. So, but again, not playing a lot of hockey. Obviously, had to start the back-to-back the other night because Vanacek was sat for trade-related reasons. So, the game's starting to pile up for Georgiev as well here. Nothing for me in this game either. We're just gonna move past this one. Sam, in the chat here talking about, I don't know, Canadian government. Less of that, more of some goal scorers. Sam, we need some goal scorers in the chat, please. So if you can do that, you can get us started there. I will recap the best bets, and then we will get into our anytime goal parlay. Last night's.
We have one more game, Alex.
We have one more game?
Yeah. Seattle, Nashville.
Oh, we do. Oh, I skipped that one. Yeah, good point. I actually had some thoughts on that game too. Okay. We have Seattle and Nashville. I don't know how I missed that game. I must have just scrolled right past it on my FanDuel screen. Right now.
Easy game to miss.
Yeah, honestly, just what a miserable game. Kraken plus 112, Preds minus 134, total of 5.5, minus 120 to the over, minus 106 to the under, if I could see that properly. Minus 115 to the over, minus 105 to the under. Since you brought this to my attention, you obviously have some more thoughts on it than I do. So I will just quickly touch on this game before I throw it over to you. I have a bit of a gripe to pick with Decord, who has a 21 goals saved above expected this season. He's been fantastic. The last 2 times I bet an under with him in net, he is at minus 5.5 goals saved above expected. So really a fuck you to Joey Decord for treating me this way. We had a debate about him in our Edgeworth group the other day as well, and I ranked him. We were talking about ranking a list of 5 or 6 goalies because that idiot Rangers fan Albert was trying to talk about Jonathan Quick being one of the best goalies on a lot of teams in this league. Anyways, I am hyping up to court, and he just takes a giant dump on my face multiple times. So very frustrating. He's been playing a ton lately, so maybe fatigue is an issue. And because of that, I think maybe there's a possibility that we see Grubauer get a start here. And if he does, I will jump on this over without a doubt, because Seattle is a mess defensively, and the only way they're able to kind of keep these games lower scoring is when they get great goaltending from Decord, which hasn't always been the case lately, but it typically is more often than not. But I don't expect that from Grubauer, who struggled in his AHL stint as well. So kind of impossible to do anything here until you know who is starting for sure. But if it is Grubauer, I will get on it over. I still don't have the stones to lay it with Nashville, though. Even though I think Seattle's really bad, I'm not laying any numbers with these bad teams anymore. I learned my lesson with the Bruins the other night. So anything for you in this one?
Yeah, so I do have a bet here, and I can completely understand if I'm walking this alone and nobody else wants to join me. I did bet Seattle.
Okay.
All right, and similar to what you were saying, that you can't lay the number on bad teams. It's just I think that Nashville at this price is. Even though they're at home, I don't know what we're doing here, right? This should right. This should be. Thanks, Charles. This should be a lot lower for me. These are two terrible teams, horrific teams, right? But there's still flashes that I see in Seattle here and there that kind of not suck me back in, but especially as we're getting past the trade deadline or approaching the trade deadline, Seattle, you're going to see a lot of players in Seattle that are playing for jobs next year, right? Or I think that in these situations, you got to be careful applying a full season's worth of numbers on a team like Seattle that have already started selling, and they're going to start inserting guys in the lineup now that are playing for next year. Where Nashville, they haven't really started selling yet, and I think it's going to come imminently. That's the other angle too, right? Seattle, they've already let go 2 of their guys that they wanted to trade. I'm sure there's more coming, but there's a lot of uncertainty in Nashville, and we could end up in a situation where later on today is when they make deals, and if that's the case, then obviously they'll be going in with a depleted lineup. So I did bet Seattle for that number. I suspect that we might see Grubauer in net, and not a fan, but I've already taken that into account. And the way I look at it too is that he was terrible, absolutely horrific before he left. And my position is that, okay, fine, if he's going to be terrible again, then what's the number? Like how much more can you make Nashville at this point if you think that Grubauer is still going to be the same terrible Grubauer that he was when he left? And I don't think you can make it I don't think you can make it much worse than it is right now for Grubauer. So even if it ticks up a little bit, I still don't think it's going to get to the point where there's value on where there's value on Nashville. So I did bet Seattle, like them down to plus 108. Obviously a little bit higher if it is Grubauer, but not as much as the market's gonna bump it up.
Okay, so I did have 2 questions for you, but you kind of answered one of them there. You kind of answered both of them, honestly, with worry about maybe getting a better number if it is Grubauer later, and then market entry, and then the other one being if they were to sit, Tanev and Alexiak for trade-related reasons tonight, two guys who are rumored to be on the move. Maybe Tanev, you're not worried about too much; he doesn't move the needle considerably, but like Alexiak, obviously playing a lot of minutes in that top four. Does that concern you at all, or not?
Yeah, it concerns me. But I think what it's going to end up doing is just it's going to open up the game more. So I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing for the way that Seattle wants to play this game.
Right. Okay. So no concerns there. So we got another bet there that I kind of fully buried that game. We will get into our anytime goal scorers. I will recap our best bets here quickly before we do. We have 5 bets tonight. We have the Flyers plus 130. We have Columbus and Florida under 6 plus 102. We have Utah minus 118, Seattle plus 115, and the Habs plus 213. 5 bets, all 1 unit bets for us. We have a number of goal scorers in the chat, so not going to have much of an issue building out this parlay tonight. Before we get to those ones, do you have anything or anyone that you wanted to add in tonight, or no?
Yeah, I'm just looking. Nothing stands out for me today.
Okay. Nothing there. I think we're gonna do a round robin tonight. We have a lot of games. We have a lot of suggestions. We have 3 from Sam as well. So almost tempted to just put them all in there and just put a little pressure on him tonight, and hopefully we have someone to blame fully if it doesn't hit. But we'll start with Barrett Hayton, which I definitely like, obviously, here with us being on Utah. Good with Hayton?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll add Hayton in there. Christian Dvorak. God, I can't believe I thought we would go all season without someone ever suggesting Christian Dvorak anytime goal. As someone who watches Christian Dvorak every single game he plays, I will say one of the most maddening, frustrating players of all time. Definitely I don't know if we can call him a pussy, but for his size, that's what he is. He's also very frustrating because he's always in the right place. He always gets in these positions to score, and he just has no hands, which is insane for a guy who put up like 100 points in a season in the OHL. Offensively was so gifted, and to just see how bad those hands are now, where he just like always gets in the right areas. He's got the hockey sense. He just cannot score for the life of him. Pretty frustrating player to watch. For that reason, I'm going to veto Christian Dvorak. He is not in our anytime goal parlay tonight. Brandon Montour.
Yeah.
Plus 600.
I can see the case, and it should be. Yeah, I don't know. Not for me.
Okay. Tuck.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. Tuck is in. So we got Tuck, and we got Barrett Hayton. I'm vetoing Dvorak, and we are getting scared off of Montour. Mario Ferraro. I think I'm gonna veto the Mario Ferraro. That's Daniel's been suggesting Ferraro every game. Eventually he will score, and eventually we will regret not putting him in there at like 19-1. Barkov or Harley?
I like Harley.
Harley?
Yeah.
Okay. Harley, yeah, plus 500. All right, let's do that. Thomas Harley in there. So that's the third. We have a Seth Jarvis.
Yeah, I can see that.
All right. Seth Jarvis is in there. That's 4. And then Yanni Gourde. I think we have to.
Yeah.
We have to. Yanni Gourde, who I don't know, actually, according to my on screen, I'm not sure if he's up right now on FanDuel. We will have the producer confirm that with us. So if he is not in there, if he's not posted yet, we will leave it as 4. If he is, then we'll get him added. I'll check myself here as well, see if him or Bjorkstrand are in there. Oh, he is there. Okay. All right, there we go. We got we have 2 in the Buffalo Tampa game. So this is an SGP built into our parlay as well. Didn't think about that because we already had Tuck. So we have the 5 for tonight, 100 and 1,033 to 1. No, 1,034 to 1. I don't know. Yeah, 1,034 to 1. Yanni Gourde, Barrett Hayton, Thomas Harley, Seth Jarvis, and Alex Tutt. Those are the 5 for tonight. Recap our best bets one more time. We have the Flyers plus 130, Columbus, Florida under 6 plus 102, Utah minus 118, Seattle plus 115, Montreal plus 213. That'll do it for us tonight. We will be back tomorrow, myself and So Money again, 10:30 a.m. Eastern time as always. Until then, if you guys can like the stream, all that sort of stuff. Keep forgetting to do that until the end of the show while everyone's like already tuned out. So, but yeah, seriously, before you click X on that tab in YouTube, before you get out of this video and go on with the rest of your day, you can just do it. Just hit the like button. It takes a second. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Come on. You want to make sure we keep doing the show into next year, right? So make sure you support us. So that would help and ensure that we can continue doing this. All right, that's it. So Money, appreciate it. Let's get some wins tonight. Let's get a Habs win tonight. Let's get a Wings loss. Let's get a Jackets loss. All these East teams losing except for the Habs.
Why aren't you for the Jackets to lose?
Because I am all Habs, all in on the Habs. That's it. I gotta put them before everything else. That's all it boils down to here. I'm selfish, and I am fully on board this drive for ninth right now. I know how it ends, but I just want to stay competitive until late in the season. Just give me competitive hockey into early April. Give me games that matter. We don't make it. We don't make it. I ultimately don't think we do, but let me enjoy it while we can.
Sure. All right. Fair. I'll let you have it.
I appreciate it. All right, that's it. And before we get out of here, Sam says, don't forget to SGP Leon anytime goal at Edmonton, team total under. Bad luck. I like that. All right, that's it. That'll do it for us today. We'll see you guys again tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, enjoy the games tonight and good luck on your bets.